scandal of reviews on e-commerce platforms, well, you're very right to think that some of them may be fake. Remember, a lot of people end up buying products, booking hotel rooms, making reservations at restaurants based on the number of stars or the rating that that product or service has. And all of this comes from the reviews online. The reviews online have become a crucial part of whether a business runs or doesn't run, whether a hotel room gets bookings or not, whether a restaurant gets reservations or not, and whether the reviews are good or not. Well, the fact is that many of these reviews are fake. They're paid for and they create a situation which does not truly exist. The centre has now stepped in. India will become the first country in the world to have a set of guidelines to check fake reviews and unverified star ratings on e-commerce websites, hotels, and travel booking platforms. This comes into effect from the 25th of the month, and as of now, it's a voluntary set of standards which have to be implemented. The Department of Consumer Affairs is the one that is finalizing the framework after studying the current mechanism that is followed by e-commerce companies. They've also taken cues from best practices globally. And while this is voluntary at the moment, this could be made mandatory in the future as well. The question now is, how will it be implemented? And will this really help people find out whether a product is truly worth it or not? To speak on this, I'm joined today by Jahangir Gai, a consumer activist. Sachin Taparia, founder of Local Circles, is with me on the show. I'm speaking with K. Ganesh, a promoter of Big Basket, Portia, Medical, and many other countries, and Deven Parulekar, founder of Saffronstays. Welcome to all of you, and thank you so much for speaking with us today on the show. Deven, let me start with you, actually. Because you are the guys who have to implement all of these. Give me an honest idea on how many reviews, and I'm not talking just about your site, how many reviews out there, for example, for villas, Airbnbs, hotels, how many of them are fake?
So let's understand that in the pre-online world, most of us refer to our friends for any kind of recommendation for a hotel or for choosing a tuition teacher for your child, right? But in the online world, I think the singular currency for the online vendor is the reputation or the reviews that he or she has gathered for his product or service. And I think this realization that reviews and this online reputation, which is actually created by your customers or by your fraternity, is actually what really matters and actually influences the buying decisions of all our consumers. So anything that works in favor of the customer making the right choice is honestly, for a brand like ours, for an honest company like ours, is the go-to or the holy grail of the industry. So the way we also recognize that, we stand to lose in a lot of times and we don't indulge in such practices. But I think the first thing that we did for ourselves as a company is said, let's map out our own North Star. And for us, that North Star honestly was the NPS score that we start requesting from our guests. And when we set that out, I must say that with a lot of pride that we sit at our NPS score of 73, which is actually more internal for us.
Lost me with North Star and NPS score. I'm asking how many reviews out there are fake. I'm not talking about your site. I'm not asking you to stick your neck out and say that, we're 100% real or some are fake. In the industry, how prevalent is this?
So it's widely prevalent. Okay, let's admit to ourselves that I think these kind of malpractices.
Thank you for being honest about it.
No, it is because you try and buy something from any of the e-marketplaces, and you will find that you often have to look at even things like, is it a verified purchaser or verified seller? There are all of these are trust building initiatives taken by the e-commerce marketplaces to actually build that trust in the mind of the customer. So let's, in some ways, while we are protecting all our customers and we are all for it, I think on the other side, the right balance, if you see globally, most of the top retailers, the top marketplaces will always, over a period of time, move their needle in the direction of some of these North Stars that I just explained.
Okay. K. Ganesh, let me come to you on the reality. Of course, the fact that the government has cracked down, the Consumer Affairs Ministry has cracked down, is after a lot of consultation and I presume some research to find out how prevalent it is. But is this become the mainstay of retail-facing e-commerce businesses, where there is really no other way to find out if something is good or not?
Yeah, I think you should look at what is the genesis of this. If you look at traditional businesses, what we generally call as the pipeline businesses, the metrics in a typical pipeline business is the way, what efficiency through which the value flows through the pipeline. But nowadays, the new age business models have this, platforms have come up, where the metrics and the focus is very different. What are the three main things in a platform? So really, we need to worry about liquidity in a platform, how many buyers, how many sellers are there large enough transactions taking place? Two, how are they matched? Is the matching quality of the platform good? If you went to a traditional shop, the shopkeeper will know you. He will go and take you directly to what you want to buy. Whereas here, you need a metric for matching quality. And the third most important thing that we're talking about, in addition to liquidity and matching quality, is really the trust. Now, the trust has to be done through reviews. There is no other choice. Like was mentioned, it could be a verified purchase, verified seller who is giving the review, or it could be anybody. I think I am very bullish that as the numbers increase, when the numbers becomes large, the amount of manipulation, fixing of the reviews will come down drastically. When I see only 10 reviews in an Airbnb site, obviously I know that it can be fixed. But when I look for reviews, if there are 200 reviews, to fix 200 reviews is difficult. So trust as an important metric, one of the top three metrics of new age platform, is the way to go in future. Government has got a responsibility, consumer protection, in order to ensure gullible consumers, first-time consumers, people who are not savvy, don't get carried away by reviews and fake reviews. It is very good that they are taking cognizance of it and putting in an ad. Implementation is completely a different story.
I'm wondering how easy it is going to be to implement. And
no, it is going to be very difficult. It's going to be difficult to implement. And again, on the flip side, to make the platform responsible for the correctness of the review, it becomes very tough. Individually, the seller who is there, who is benefiting from such fake review, has to take care. It's almost like when you see advertisement on the walls or the posters being put up across the city, when you see the product being advertised, the claim is wrong. Whoever is the product owner who is standing to benefit, get pulled up. That should be the philosophy here too, that if a review is not...
In a sphere where there's so many products and not all of them are from well-known, reputed brand, everyone has a platform, right, on e-commerce, and that's the beauty of it. Sachin, I want to come to you on this. So if I take the example, say, of restaurants, I want to try out a new restaurant. I know there are these standard top-rated restaurants that everyone knows about, which will ensure that I have a good menu, good food, good service, good experience. I want to try something new, and I'm going to bank on reviews. Now, here's where it gets tricky. Suppose I come across a number of fake reviews. I still go in for this restaurant. I've spent money there. I'm upset. I haven't bothered to do anything about it. It's still an open trap for the next consumer. And that's the problem, isn't it, Sachin?
No, it is very much, Tamanna. In fact, I was part of the committee that designed these guidelines. And I was also the one, Local Circles was the platform that raised the entire issue of reviews and ratings. We've been raising since 2018. Most recent was in June this year. And there's really 4 issues that we started out with, which was all reported by consumers. And I think we have discussed them here. One is fake reviews. Second is biased reviews. Third is what you can call as suppression of negative reviews, which is also very common. And then you have, reviews which are basically created without the real identity or anonymous reviews. So these 4 were the key issues. And typically, what ends up happening is in the case of, so there is product purchases, there is purchase of services, and there is purchase of, let's say, apps in the case of App Store or Play Store. So these rules will apply across the board to all these three categories, right? And then you have the professionals like the doctors and, different services that are out there like Urban Clap and whatnot. So all of, this comes under the purview of this document.
No, so who has to, one minute, Sachin, so who has to implement it? Whose responsibility
So here is where it
implement
comes, right? So what happens is, the primary responsibility lies with the platforms. So let's say if you're looking at an e-commerce platform, right? So the e-commerce platform has got sellers and it has got consumers. Now, let's say a platform has 100,000 sellers. Now, the platform basically now has to ensure that, they are providing the ability to review to individuals who have actually purchased the product in case of, product reviews. The seller, of course, what is very common is that when a new product is listed by the seller tells their friends, family, others to, give them a 5-star rating. And that's how, Ganesh brought that point out, that the first 5, 10, 15 ratings is difficult to trust because they are organized, right? But as the number of ratings increase and as, they are basis all these verified purchases, the law of large number works. So that is where the platform what they have to do is ensure that they have certain declarations that they have actually taken from the seller. And they also are taking certain declarations from those who are reviewing. Like, I am reviewing this product and I do not have a conflict of interest, which is, it is not my own product, my family's product, or, a set of
but I'm frankly wondering over here, and Mr. Guy, let me come to you on this. First of all, people who are reviewing a product they have used are doing, in my view, a yeoman service. They're not getting paid for it. They're spending their time reviewing a product they may or may not use again. If I get a product and I don't like it, I can just move on with my life. I don't need to spend another 15, 20 minutes reviewing it for the next person to know. So how really are you going to get people to review and then fill out this declaration form? That seems a little difficult. Plus, the guidelines, to my understanding, say that websites have to mark which ones are paid reviews and which ones are sponsored, and not publish paid reviews. So how really is this going to work in real terms seems a little unclear, isn't it?
It is absolutely unclear. In fact, when there is a paid review, the payer is the website owner or a company which is running it. It is like telling the culprit that you declare yourself to be a thief. So it's not really going to work. If there was going to be voluntary self-regulation, then there would have been no need for a government to step in. So first of all, this law has to be made mandatory. Secondly, the most crucial thing is, how do you sift between genuine reviews and fake reviews? That is extremely difficult. How do you really know whether a buyer is a verified purchaser or not? Only the website owner knows. So it is extremely difficult for gathering the evidence. Assuming that evidence is to be gathered, an individual consumer, as you very rightly said, he's doing a service by putting in his time and effort giving the review. Not all consumers would be eloquent enough to write a review properly. Even when a review is written, how much truth there is. Sometimes you find certain reviews with self-contradictory statements. So it's going to be extremely difficult. Only a regulator, a third party, who can get access to the records of any website platform can ascertain and carry out an audit.
I want Mr. Parulekar to respond to this. The claim that the websites will not be on